Hey guys, Only Game here, and I'm back with another collection video for you guys. And today I'm going to be doing a updated Nintendo GameCube game collection. Now, the last time I showed off my GameCube games was back in 2021, so not too long ago, but still I have gotten quite a few more games since then, so I figured that, an update was definitely long overdue at this point. And not to mention that I kind of was sort of in a GameCube-ish mood at the moment because, well, the funny thing is, even though you see all these GameCube games in front of you, I actually don't even own the system. Now, I do own a Wii, which is how I play all these GameCube games, but an actual original GameCube, I don't have. I'd love to get one. In fact, I'm currently like searching online and trying to get the best deals on one. I don't know, I've just kind of been like in a mood to just talk about some GameCube stuff, and more specifically, all my games. Yeah, so anyway, these are all my games, all in alphabetical order. So without further ado, let's just begin, I guess. So starting things off, we have Call of Duty 2 Big Red One. Definitely a Call of Duty game that's been completely forgotten over time. I mean, it's a spin-off of Call of Duty 2. This one's completely different. This was actually made by Treyarch. It was actually the first Call of Duty game they ever made. And to be honest, I don't actually remember a whole lot about it. It was during that weird time where like Call of Duty was like in its early stages, and it was still mainly a PC game, but this is when the series was just starting to come out on consoles. And obviously it didn't become like the huge juggernaut success that it is today quite yet. So yeah, and I don't remember a whole lot about this game, to be honest. I've owned it for like over 5 years now. I think I've only played it like twice. I honestly don't remember a whole lot, but yeah, still pretty cool to have. Not a lot of people probably even know that Call of Duty's on the GameCube, but it is. And there was another one as well, Finest Hour, which I do own, but not on the GameCube. I have that on a PS2 instead. And moving on, we have Mario Kart Double Dash, of course, a staple for Nintendo GameCube. I mean, Mario Kart's a staple for any Nintendo system, definitely not my favorite. It's not a bad game at all. I don't think there's any bad Mario Kart game. I'd still have to go with 8 Deluxe, which I know is probably going to be like, oh, you're probably like a casual Mario Kart fan for saying that, but no, I do generally think, because I pretty much have played every Mario Kart, except for, I don't think I played Mario Kart 64. I played the original on the Super Nintendo for sure, and I played Super Circuit. I don't think I played 64 though. I don't remember. But I've definitely played all the ones from Double Dash onwards. In fact, I own all the ones from Double Dash onwards, physically. But yeah, still a really good game. I've been meaning to replay this for the longest time, because it's been years since I last touched it. But yeah. So there's that. And also my copy is actually a not to be sold separately one. I didn't even notice that when I first got it. But yeah, so this must have been originally from a bundle, because they did actually do that. Obviously, they did do like GameCube bundles that would come with free games, and yeah, this must have been one of them at some point. But yeah. Then next we have Super Mario Sunshine, another must-own game for the GameCube. A lot of people are pretty mixed on this game, actually. People definitely say it's definitely nowhere near as good as Mario 64 Galaxy or anything, but I still really enjoy this. I'm gonna be honest, like, it was I haven't really had too much experience with 3D Mario games, to be honest. I've only really played like 64 and Sunshine. I haven't played Galaxy, even though I own it on the 3D All-Stars collection, and I haven't even played Odyssey. Yeah, I'm one of the few Switch owners who doesn't own Mario Odyssey. I want to get it at some point, but still pretty expensive. Yeah, this is like the only one I've actually put any real time into, and I actually really enjoyed it. But yeah, there's that. But yeah, I think I played it more on the Switch, but yeah, it's still a really good game. Alright, and next we have Sonic Adventure DX Director's Cut. This is obviously the port of the original Sonic Adventure, which debuted on the Dreamcast. This is the only version of the first adventure I've played. I know not a whole lot of fans like this version. They prefer the original Dreamcast one. I haven't played that one personally, so I can't obviously comment on that. But yeah, I didn't really play too much of this, to be honest. I mean, 3D Sonic games in general, while I do like quite a lot of them, I'm going to be honest, I'm definitely more like of a 2D Sonic fan, personally. I mean, my favorite Sonic game is still Sonic 2 on the Mega Drive. But yeah, I really want to go back and play more of this at some point, because I didn't really play a whole lot of it. And that's a shame, because I have heard like really good things about this. But yeah, but I just haven't sunk in too much time into it. Same with the sequel, actually, Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. This was the first game I actually got for the GameCube. way back in the day. It was like 2014. It was also the first game I remember ever buying at a CEX. Another game I haven't played too much of, and I really need to, because this is considered one of the best 3D Sonic games. And yeah, my one doesn't have a manual. I really need to play more of the adventure games, because I have played them, but I just haven't sunk in any real time. I think I've only really played like an hour of both or so. So I really need to like actually get into those like properly. Right, and then we have probably my favorite game on the GameCube, or it's definitely up there, Sonic Mega Collection. This is of course a compilation that has all the Sega Mega Drive games on it. So Sonic 1, 2, 3, Sonic and Knuckles, Sonic 3D, Flicky's Island, Sonic Spinball, and Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine. Yeah, this is definitely a must-own for any Sonic fan. Of course, Mega Collection Plus is definitely the one to get because you get more content, but this is still a really solid collection even now. So yeah, definitely a must-own if you have a GameCube. And then this one is kind of interesting actually, Sonic Gems Collection. This one's kind of like the semi-sequel to Mega Collection, but this one focuses specifically on the more obscure Sonic games, which is pretty interesting. Of course, the big selling point of this is that it had a Sonic CD on it. This was like the first time, with the exception of the PC release, this was the first time Sonic CD ever got re-released. And this was how a lot of people played for the first time. It was also the first time Sonic the Fighters came to consoles as well, and also Sonic R was re-released on this as well. It's got some like, you know, other Game Gear games on it, which were pretty much all the Game Gear games that weren't on Mega Collection Plus, like Sonic 2, Spinball, Triple Trouble, Sonic Drift 2, Tails Sky Patrol, and Tails Adventures. And there's even more unlockables as well, like some non-Sonic games like Vector Man 1 and 2. And in Japan, they also had all 3 Streets of Rage games as well, or Bare Knuckle, as it was called there. Yeah, this is still a solid collection. Obviously, like, not as good as Mega Collection Plus, because that one has all the classics on it. But still, like, for a collection that specifically focuses on just the obscure games, I mean, it's neat to have. This version's, like, pretty damn expensive these days, so I'm glad I bought this, you know, a long time ago. But, yeah. Alright, and next we have Star Wars Rogue Squadron 2 Rogue Leader. This game was a launch title for the GameCube, and a lot of people consider it to be, like, one of the best, I think in general, one of the best GameCube games, and like one of the best Star Wars games from back in the day. Gonna be honest, I haven't played too much of it. This copy was originally my dad's actually, and he eventually gave it to me. And I want to get the third one as well, Rebel Strike, which is a pretty cheap game in CEX for me. It's like one of the only few GameCube games that's actually somewhat affordable at CEX. But yeah, another game that I really need to. This case is battered, by the way. I mean, just look at that. It's a massive hole there at the top. But yeah, this is another game that I need to go back and actually play more of. This is by far the most expensive game in my GameCube collection. I spent quite a lot on this one. The Legend of Zelda Collector's Edition. This one was pretty interesting actually, because this one wasn't actually, it didn't have like a retail release initially. This one was only available through mainly like GameCube bundles and stuff. It's another compilation, obviously for The Legend of Zelda, and this one has the 2 NES games, so the first Legend of Zelda and Zelda 2, and also the 2 N64 games, Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, and a demo for Wind Waker as well. And as far as I'm aware, I think it's the only compilation they ever did for The Legend of Zelda. I know Mario obviously had the All-Stars collection on the Super Nintendo, and obviously eventually 3 All-Stars, but this was the only one for Zelda, I think, which is yeah, pretty crazy when you think about it. This is a pretty expensive game these days. This cost me like £27, I think. It was really close to 30 quid, which is still a pretty decent price for this game, because it usually goes for a little bit more than that. But yeah, this is by far the most expensive GameCube game I own, and the one I've spent the most money on. But yeah, still a really cool compilation. Another thing that's kind of crazy as well is that this is actually the only proper Legend of Zelda game that I even own. I have Hyrule Warriors for the Wii U and the Hyrule Warriors Legends for 3DS, but this is the only actual Legend of Zelda game that I own in my whole collection. Yeah, this is the only one. Because Zelda is a series that like I wanted to try out for quite some time, so I thought I'd get this because this one has like the, you know, the 4 original games. I mean, it doesn't have a Link to the Past on it. Yeah, I thought this would just be a great starting point for a Zelda noob like myself, I guess. Alright, and next up we have the Tony Hawk games, of course, my favourite game franchise of all time, without a doubt. So starting off, we have Pro Skater 3 here. This is absolutely, hands down, my favourite video game of all time. Absolutely love it. Still holds up incredibly well even now, you know, for a game that came out back in 2001, it still plays amazingly. And that's why I love this game. That's why this is my favourite game of all time. It's just like you know, anyone who's played Tony Hawk can tell you that the gameplay in these games is just phenomenal. absolutely phenomenal. It's just a damn fun game, you know, just a damn fun arcadey skateboarding game. And yeah, I fucking love this series, bro. I really wish they would make a new one. I mean, I know we had the amazing Pro Skater 1 2 remake, but, you know, we unfortunately didn't get a Pro Skater 3 and 4 remake, and they were going to do one. They were going to do one, but for whatever reason, Activision decided to cancel it. And it's like, why? But anyway, so yeah, best game of all time, no questions asked. And then next we have Pro Skater 4. I didn't like as much as 3, but it's still a really solid game. I mean, it still plays just as well as 3, but this one, I just remember I couldn't get into as much. I mean, it's, like I said, it still plays just like 3, it still plays amazingly and all, but I don't know, I think it was just like the levels in this game. Like, I remember like the opening level, College, like not really particularly liking that level. Like, I much preferred like the opening levels of, you know, Pro Skater 3, which is Foundry, and Pro Skater 2, Hangar, you know. But I don't dislike it at all, but it's definitely not as good as 3 in my opinion. But yeah, but it's still a really solid game. And then, of course, we have what many people consider to be the GOAT of Tony Hawk. Tony Hawk's Underground. This is my second favourite Tony Hawk game. Absolutely love this one. Definitely my favourite of the story-driven Tony Hawk games. I never really played too much of the story, though, to be honest. I remember, like, back in the day, like, when I first started playing these games, I mainly just play, like, free skate. And that was about it. Like, I'll just, like, mess around trying to, like, rack up high scores and stuff. So, yeah, so I never actually beat the story mode of this. And I really should do at some point. But yeah, there it is. And then Tony Hawk's Underground 2, which is probably my least favourite of the Neversoft Tony Hawk games. But again, that doesn't mean it's bad. It doesn't mean it's bad at all. In my opinion, Neversoft never made a bad game in general. Not just Tony Hawk, but like the other stuff as well. Because I actually do own every Neversoft game they ever made. This one was like very over the top, you know. It's basically just like jackass with skateboards for the most part, especially like the story and stuff was just completely just insane. I don't know, I just didn't enjoy it as much as Underground, mainly just because of how like just batshit insane it was at times. But yeah, but it's still a really good game, of course. You know, it's a Tony Hawk game, so it's still good, as long as it's not made by Roman, of course. Right, and then the last one is Tony Hawk's American Wasteland. This is a game that initially I wasn't, again, my thoughts on this game initially were kind of similar to Underground 2, but over the past like couple years or so, American Wasteland has really, really like grown on me. And now this has become probably my third favorite Tony Hawk game. This one's kind of divisive, like in the Tony Hawk community, but I really love this game personally. American Wasteland is really, really damn good. So yeah, and I love the whole like punk aesthetic that it has as well. I think it's pretty cool. The story was nowhere near as insane as Underground 2. I mean, it still had like some elements of it, like there was still like some, you know, like emphasis on destruction, still some crazy moments, but it was definitely more grounded compared to Underground 2. But yeah, and I also own all these games for the PS2 as well, and the original Xbox, and then American Wasteland I also have for the 360. So yeah, absolutely love the Tony Hawk games. And the last two games here we have are the two true crime games. Remember these? So first one here, Streets of LA. Yeah, this series was pretty much like back in the day. These were kind of like the first of the GTA clones that we saw a lot of in the 2000s. Because this came out like right after like GTA 3 and Vice City like blew up and became like huge. And yeah, and this was like kind of one of the first games to like directly compete with GTA. And yeah, and in my opinion, like it's a really, really damn good game. I mean, it's heavily, heavily underrated. It's definitely a lot more like crazier than GTA. And like, I mean, it's just such a cool game, you know. I mean, it focuses more like a hand-to-hand, like sort of martial arts combat. Of course, you do get like guns in the game and stuff, but like, yeah, but there's like parts that are almost like a kind of like a beat 'em up or something. Yeah, it's kind of hard to explain it, but it's just it's a really enjoyable game. Like I love this game personally. So yeah, and I also own this for the PS2 and Xbox as well. I did a whole like video 2 years ago showing off all my true crime games, and I literally own like every version of both of them, this and the sequel, because I love them that much. And yeah, and here's the second one, New York City. This one I didn't like as much as the first one. Like I remember like playing this first on PS2, I think, and then eventually getting on GameCube later. And yeah, this one just wasn't as good in my opinion. But I mean, it's still okay. But yeah, I definitely prefer the Streets of LA, and this is another game with a battered case, as you can see there. But yeah, everything else is still in decent shape. But yeah, so that's all my GameCube games, but we're not done yet because there's two more things I want to show you before I end this video. So first of all, I want to show up. I have one import GameCube game. It's a North American one, and it's actually another copy of Rogue Squadron 2. Yes, I have the American version of this game. Reason being is because I don't know how this happened, but you know how I mentioned that the other copy of Rogue Squadron 2 originally my dad owned and then he gave it to me? Well, my dad also owned this and he gave it to me as well. I don't know why, I don't know how this happened, but my dad somehow had both the American and the European versions of Rogue Squadron 2. I have no idea how. My guess is that he brought it back in the day and he got this version instead and then realized I obviously can't play it because the GameCube's region locked. So then eventually he went out and got a PAL copy. Again, I'm not entirely sure what happened, but yeah, I've got an NTSC copy of Rogue Squadron 2. It's literally my only import GameCube game, but yeah, I've got that. And then also, this next one isn't a game, but I figured that I'd show it off anyway because it's still GameCube related. I also own the Game Boy Player startup disc as well. Now, I literally just got this, probably only like a week ago or so as of me filming. I just got this. It's pretty much pointless to me because I don't even own a GameCube, nor do I even own a Game Boy Player. This is ridiculously expensive nowadays, well over £100, and I got a really damn good deal on this. I paid only 63 quid on it on eBay, which is still quite a lot, but for the startup disc, yeah, it's an absolute bargain. Yeah, there it is. So yeah, so I got this first because this is by far like the most expensive part. Game Boy Player you can usually find just on its own for around 40-50 quid. And same with a GameCube as well. Like this is eBay prices, so I'm not entirely sure about like other websites. But on eBay, you can usually get just the GameCube on its own or just the player on its own for around 50 quid. But yeah, but the startup disc is well over 100. So yeah, so I'm so glad that I got this first. So now all I need to get is just the player and the GameCube, and yeah, and I'll be all set. I don't have to worry about getting the stupidly overpriced startup disc. But yeah, so there you have it, guys. That is my entire GameCube game collection. Hope you guys enjoyed. Of course, like I mentioned earlier, I do want to get a GameCube, like an actual proper one, with the Game Boy Player, of course. And I will for sure make a video on it, like when I get it, like similarly to when I got the PS3 back in December. I'll do a whole video like unboxing it and send it up for you guys. But yeah, but I'm still currently looking, you know, obviously trying to get like a really good deal like I did with the startup disc. But yeah, but it's just proven to be very difficult because like, yeah, it's going to cost me at least 100 to get the player or the GameCube together. But yeah, but I'm just currently looking through to see, you know, like what deals I can find. But yeah, anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know down in the comments what's your favorite game for the GameCube. Mine's pretty obvious. This masterpiece right here. And yeah, and with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed this video. And please like, subscribe, and peace. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, take care now.